So a lot of diseases in medicine is when we get a discordance between our genes and the environment, right? So most of us, apart from one lucky person in the back there, are not meant to be under the equatorial sun. So when we come from England or Northern Europe and we land here, our genetics is not designed for this sun, so we're going to get skin cancer as a consequence of that discordance, right? And if the ozone layer gets weak, hole gets bigger and bigger, it's going to get worse and worse for us. So the environment is changing, our genes are the same. And this, you've got to sort of think about this nutritionally in a similar fashion. Which means that we've been an evolutionary pressures on our genome, and who biology take theoretically about 100,000 years, most people would think. Perhaps a bit shorter on certain issues. But what happens is that one of the big pressures in this period has been starvation, so that we've become extremely efficient. It's a surviving starvation, and that's why weight loss is so hard for us. But obviously we're also geared up to the sort of foods that we're getting. Now, people lived, of course, all over the world from the equator, south and north, with different sort of constitutes, but the thing that really defines what they ate is that they ate real food. They didn't eat any processed food. I mean, so a lot of people will want to argue what's a paleo diet, is an apple a paleo thing now, because apples used to be tiny little things and now they're these big steroid pumped up things. You know, can we have a paleo diet? Well, the answer to that is probably not, because things have changed so much. But I think it's fairly obvious that the hunters and gatherers didn't eat Mars bars, drink fruit juice, drink Coca-Cola, eat hamburgers and pizza, right? So they predominantly scavenged for food, and then they learned to hunt and they ate animals. So protein and fat, vegetables, fruits, nuts and berries, things that they could pull off out of the ground, out of trees. So real food is what they ate. But it changed the sort of nutrition that we were getting, probably negatively. You think about the Australian Aboriginal, they are to this day suffering fairly significant cardiovascular disease from eating a sort of carbohydrate-based diet, when they were eating, before white man got here, a very healthy sort of hunter and gatherer diet. And now the most common diseases they have is heart disease, kidney disease, diabetes, diseases that didn't exist when they were eating their normal diet. In fact, there's a very good study where they take 10 full-blood Aboriginals from Darwin and put them in Derby, which is out sort of bush. And within, I think, a month, or 6 weeks or a month, of eating their full blood so they can live off the land, and within a month of eating their natural diet, they lose all of the things that we would consider as chronic disease, diabetes, hypertension, hyperlipidemia, this sort of stuff. So that would suggest to you that modern processed food isn't just bad for you, it's an acute toxin, because it actually can reverse within 4 to 6 weeks if you go back to your diet that resonates with your genetics. So I think that's a very important concept. Now, Australian Aboriginal, they have been hunters and gatherers, say, within 10 generations. For most Europeans it's 50 or 80, but nonetheless, this obesity epidemic would suggest that we're not resonating with the food environment that we've created.